Hello everyone. Today we're talking about table position. New players tend to ignore the concept, even though it's not that complicated. That is, if you learn a few basic principles about table position, it'll make you a better player and you'll win more hands. In poker, you don't all play at once. You take turns. So you need to grasp how the rules dictate who plays first, second, and so forth, and why that matters. Now in a home game, you can just pass the deck of cards around. If the person to your right is done dealing, they'll pass the deck to you, and now you're the dealer. You start with the person on your left and deal clockwise around. The dealer is the last player to receive his cards and the last player to act each round of betting. But in a casino or playing Zynga, rather than pass the deck of cards around, we have a dealer, and so instead we pass the dealer button around to indicate who acts last. One time around is called an orbit. Now, no matter where the button is, the person to the left of the button goes first. It's their turn, their action. And the action moves clockwise around the table, ending with the button. The person to the left of the button is the small blind. To their left, the big blind. Under the gun, the cutoff, and back to the button. As the button moves, the table positions move. Small blind, big blind, under the gun, cutoff, button. So, after the flop, it couldn't be more simple. Actions to the small blind, then the big blind, and it moves all the way around with the person on the button acting last. After the turn card, it's the same thing with the action moving clockwise around and ending with the button. Same goes for the river, small blind, big blind, all the way around and ending with the button. Obviously, if people have folded, they can't act, so the action goes to the first person who hasn't folded in the same order, all the way around to the button. Now, before the flop, the two people in the blinds are still the first to act, you could say, although they have to post forced bets, the small blind being half the big blind. And then the person under the gun is the first person to effectively make a choice pre-flop. Being on the button is the best seat at the table because you have more information before you make your decisions. There are many ways to illustrate this, but let's say you have King-9 of clubs and the flop comes down with 2 hearts and an ace. This person might think their flush draw or their jack is good, but then the man in the cutoff lets us know that he's got us beat and raises it to $60. Now it's your turn, and it's an easy lay down with the King-9 of clubs, whereas the first person to act, it's cost him $10. Of course, not every hand is like that. Some are exactly the opposite. But the principle still holds true that being last to act is advantageous. When people show you weakness, you can take advantage of that. If they look weak, being in the button, you can raise with, well, in this case, the worst starting hand in poker, 7-2, and you can take down pots. Another example, our small blind raises, which means he's got a hand, but I'm in position. Now it's heads up and look at that flop. A small bet relative to the pot tells me that he probably has pocket pairs, but a lower pair. And so being in position, I can take advantage of that and bluff him off this pot. That was pure table position at work. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps a little bit. There's much more to say, and we'll talk about this in future videos. Until then, good luck and enjoy.